channel. This is the very first episode that I will ever do on this channel, and I'm so excited. And I'm pretty much basing my theme off of true crime. So a little backstory about why I love criminal justice and true crime. I actually love just listening to podcasts in general. I've always been fascinated, not with the criminals themselves, but I have been fascinated with their minds. So I have a degree in social work. I went to school and got my bachelor's in social work, and I emphasized part of my college career within criminal justice. So I get both aspects of the criminal justice. I've seen, from the defender side, and I've also seen from the prosecutor side. And I think it's so fascinating, the minds of some of these people, like how they think that what they're doing is justified, or the mind and what their mind is telling them to do, or why they did certain things. And I also am passionate about those people that are missing, the people that don't have advocates, because that's what being a social worker is advocating for other people and teaching them how to advocate for themselves. And I'm so excited for this journey, and I hope to bring to you new cases and cases that you may have already heard of and bring you updates. And yeah, so let's just get started. So I'm going to start off with the Alissa Turney case. So if you followed this case recently, it's actually not a recent case. Alissa Turney was a 17-year-old girl from Phoenix, Arizona who went missing in 2001. Her sister has been advocating and trying to bring justice to her murder and disappearance, and she, as well as multiple other people, believe that their father, it would be Alissa's stepfather, was the one who caused the disappearance of Alissa. So if you've been following her on TikTok, there's multiple podcasts about it. There's articles, there's petitions for you to sign all around bringing justice to Alissa. Most of them started by her sister. A lot of them started by friends and family. So if you followed the case recently, on August 20th, 2020, a couple days ago, I don't know what today is. Oh, it's the 23rd. So 3 days ago, he was actually arrested and charged for the murder and disappearance of his stepdaughter, Alissa Turney. Alissa Turney was born on April 3rd, 1984, and she was just 17 years old at the time of her disappearance in Phoenix, Arizona. Alissa was a typical high school student who loved to hang out and socialize with her friends, occasionally skip school. She had a rebellious side to her, which most high school students do. She lived with her half-sister, Sarah, who was only 12 years old at the time of her disappearance, and her stepfather, who adopted her, Michael Turney. Her mother married Michael Turney in 1987 when Alissa was just 3 years old. Her mother unfortunately passed away due to cancer when Alissa was just 8 years old. Michael's relationship with Alissa was very different than Sarah's. So Sarah was the biological daughter of Michael Turney and then Alissa's mother, so it was Alissa's half-sister, and their relationship was very different with their dad. So Sarah, her and her dad had a great relationship. He was very calm, nurturing, loving, and accepting of his daughter, where with Alissa, he treated her very different. Michael believed that Alissa needed more guidance, so he put more pressure on her and he was more strict with her, which is common in blended families. When it's someone that is not your biological kid, a lot of people will do that to their stepkids, which it doesn't make it right, but it's not uncommon. Michael told people that he was more strict with Alissa because she needed more guidance and she had a more troubled life, and he treated his daughter Sarah and his 3 sons from a previous marriage very different. Because of the way Michael treated Alissa, it caused tension between them, because Alissa can see that her dad was treating her very different than he would her sibling. On May 17th, 2001 was the last time that anyone saw Alissa alive. Michael Turney went and picked Alissa up from school to take her out to lunch around, lunchtime, school time. And she told her boyfriend and multiple friends that she would see them later that evening at a end of the year school party. So it was confirmed by her boyfriend and friends that Michael did pick Alissa up early from school to take her out to lunch, and while out to lunch, they actually got into an argument, which was also confirmed by witnesses who saw them arguing. So the argument was over Alissa wanting more freedom from her father and for him not to put so much pressure on her, not be so much strict, because again, she was 17, almost 18, going to be a senior. He wasn't as strict with her little sister, who was only 12, and so they got in a big argument because he was appalled and he didn't want to give her that freedom. Michael later stated that he left Alissa at home while she was still angry to go run errands and then pick up her younger sister Sarah, but Sarah's story was that he never came and picked her up. She waited for him after school and he never showed, so she ended up walking to her friend's house and had a water day and just figured her dad would pick her up later. He never came until around 4 to 5 p.m. and then when he did pick Sarah up, he told her that Alissa was missing. So he had Sarah call Alissa on her cell phone, which she didn't pick up, and when they arrived home, Sarah was told to go look up at her sister's room to see if she was there. When Sarah went upstairs, she found her sister's room array. It was a mess, which it usually was not a mess, and she had her cell phone on the dresser, she had her school stuff all over the bed, and she had a note that was actually found on her dresser stating that she was done and she was running away to California to be with family, and she was giving her dad what she wanted, and that she stole $300 from him, and that she had been saving up money so she could run away to California. Sarah, this didn't seem unusual because she actually did have family. She had an aunt who lived in California and would often say that she was gonna go run away to California, so at the time she didn't think anything of it. After this happened, Michael called the police to file a missing persons report on Alissa, but he did tell them that she wrote a letter that said she was running away, so that's how they treated her case originally, was as a runaway case. To Alissa's boyfriend and her friends, this was weird to them. They thought it didn't make any sense because she said that she would see them later, so why would she tell them that she would see them later at a party when she knew she was going to run away and not come back? It is also important to note that Michael himself was an ex-cop and he was a very paranoid man. He had cameras throughout his house and the outside of his house, and he also monitored every call coming in and going out. He recorded everything, and he said that it was because of their safety and he wanted to keep everybody safe. So some of you may be thinking, just like me, that it's only common sense that one of the video cameras would have caught what happened to Alissa, where she was going, when she left, and what happened. A week later, Michael said that he got a call from Alissa from California from a payphone saying that she was never coming back and that she was staying in California and that she just hung up the phone abruptly. He then provided phone records to the police to show that he in fact did get a call from California, and to the police that just verified that she was a runaway and she just stayed a runaway case to them. For several years after Alissa's disappearance, Michael would often tell friends and family that he believed something more sinister happened to her. He didn't think that she just ran away or that something happened when she did run away. And he would often go to police and would say he would go to police and say that they weren't doing their job, so he had to take matters into his own hand. He would do his own investigation and his own search, and he said he would go to California and hand out missing person flyers trying to find his stepdaughter. In 2006, just 5 years after Alissa first had disappeared or ran away, whichever side you're on at this point, the police got a confession letter from an inmate in Florida by a man named Thomas Heimer, who said that he killed Alissa. While investigating this confession, the police actually found it to be a hoax, but during their investigation, they found a lot of things that had happened in the investigation that didn't make sense and didn't add up to her being a runaway. Michael at this point became very uncooperative with police. He no longer wanted to contact them in person or on the phone, only over fax. And he also refused to take a polygraph test. A polygraph test is a test that you hook up to, and the questionnaire person will ask you questions, and pretty much the test will say if what you're saying is the truth or if you're lying. To a lot of people, when you refuse to take a polygraph test, that's an admission of guilt, because if you have nothing to hide, then why not be willing to take a polygraph test? One of the things that the police saw while reinvestigating her case was that the money that she said she had in her bank account saved up was never touched. It was still in her bank account after 5 years, had never been taken out. Her social security number had never been used. It was not ran at all, which if you are getting a job or if you're going to continue your education somewhere, they have to check your social security to make sure, you are who you say you are. And all of that had still been the same, as if she just fell off the face of the earth. I also mentioned earlier that she had not contacted anyone. She had not contacted any friends, any family, not contacted her boyfriend. She just literally disappeared. This was enough to make the police suspicious and question her case as a whole, and if she was really a runaway or if she was in fact a missing person. So at this point, they contacted Michael Turney again and they asked to see the tapes from that day because they were well aware that he recorded everything. And Michael Turney told the police that he watched over 8 hours of footage and there was nothing of valuable information for it, so he just discarded them. And he also said conveniently that the phone recordings, they weren't on that day, so they didn't record any of the calls going in or out. Which now, hearing this, the police are like, okay, this guy's very suspicious. If he's not willing to cooperate now that gives them, beyond a reasonable doubt that they think that they should look more into him as a suspect, that he could be a potential suspect for her case because, again, she has not been heard of or found in over 5 years. So for those of you who are familiar and aren't with the criminal justice, you may have heard of something called the burden of proof. So the burden of proof is a tier pretty much saying, when a officer can search you and search your house or your car or whatever it is that they're trying to search. So in order to be searched and have a warrant issued, or if you're in a car and they can't get a warrant issued right away, they have to have probable cause. So probable cause means that facts will lead an ordinary person to believe that a crime has been committed. So the probable cause that the police had with Michael Turney was that he refused to cooperate by showing them the tapes and showing them the recordings of the phone. So that gave them probable cause to think that he is hiding something and that there is reason to justify why they need a warrant and why they need to search his house. Once the police got a warrant to search Michael Turney's house, they found an incredible amount of weapons. They found 26 homemade pipe bombs. They found multiple assault rifles. They found silencers, and they found a manifesto, most importantly written by him, called Diary of a Madman Martyr. In this document, he claims how he believed that people that he used to work with at a electrical union were responsible for the murder and death and disappearance of his stepdaughter, Alissa. He said that he took matters into his own hands and he claimed to have killed these 2 men. When police investigated this claim, they found it to be false and that both of these men that Michael claimed to have killed himself had actually died of natural causes. And at this old union comp, they actually had meetings and they believed that they caught him just in time and that he was going to bomb this meeting, which was supposed to happen in a couple days after they had searched his house. So they believe that they found everything just in time, because he also claimed that he was gonna blow up the place and kill himself. Michael later claimed that this was false, that he was not gonna ever do that he just planned to have killed himself and not kill a whole union. And in his diary, he also put that he believed that Alissa was buried in a desert in California. Not only did the police find all these weapons and this manifesto written by Michael Turney, but they also found letters written by Alissa herself claiming that she was sexually assaulted and molested by her stepfather. They also found multiple contracts that Alissa had signed claiming that these allegations of sexual assault and physical harm done to her was false, which the police believe that Michael Turney was the one who wrote them up to keep her silent and say that this is proof that none of this happened because she signed these contracts. So at this point, Michael was then arrested and he was charged for all of these weapons and he was sentenced to 10 years for this crime, not for anything that had to do with Alissa, but just for the bombs and the assault rifles and all of the weapons that he had on him. Alissa's boyfriend and some of her friends and even a teacher came forward and said that they had heard these allegations from Alissa, also saying that she was sexually assaulted. So it's not like it was anything unheard of from other people, because there's actually people that she had confided in saying what was happening to her. Sarah, all these years, has continued to advocate for her sister and has pleaded with multiple news outlets, media sources, through her TikTok, through her social medias, to please help her bring justice to her sister, Alissa Turney. At the time when she was younger, she said she didn't think anything different and didn't think anything was wrong, but now, after hearing the facts and growing older, she is her sister's biggest advocate. She wants to bring her father to justice, and other family members believe that he was the one who committed this crime. So she has pleaded with everybody to please help her and help her bring justice to Alissa's case and help them find her. And if anyone has any information, to please contact the resources that are available to bring her sister's case back up to light. After so long, the police finally, they couldn't ignore what was happening, the case coming back to light even 19 years later. And as of August 20th, 2020, a couple days ago, like I mentioned earlier, Michael Turney was finally arrested and charged for second-degree murder and the disappearance of his stepdaughter, Alissa Turney. This is a huge accomplishment for this case, and it brings Alissa Turney and her whole disappearance back to light and brings it to more people being able to see it, especially in today's age of technology and social media. There's so many different outlets that people can use to find out more about this case, that even after 19 years, it's still trying to go strong and still trying to bring justice and find out what happened to Alissa. You can search multiple articles and news sources online, and there's even some actual footage of Michael Turney showing how physically possessive and mean he was towards Alissa, that a lot of people may not have believed that he was actually a harmful person, because to a lot of people he was a kind, giving, loving person. They didn't think that this was something that he could commit. And as much as it is amazing that he has now been charged, he still has to go through trial, and they still don't have a body. It is not uncommon for a case to be in trial and someone be found guilty without a body, but it does make it significantly hard. There's no physical evidence to show that here's a body, this is what happened to the body, this is why it shows that this was the person who committed it, or why this person is the one who could have committed it. It has now been 19 years since Alissa had first disappeared, and Michael Turney, who is now 72 years old, awaits trial and awaits to see if he is found guilty for the murder and disappearance of his stepdaughter, Alissa Turney. Alissa's remains have still not been found after all these years, and if you have any information regarding Alissa's disappearance or the case in general, please contact the Phoenix Police Department Missing Persons Unit. That is it for today's episode, and thank you so much for listening and following up on this case. Not every person knows the exact facts. The only person who knows truly everything is the police department, everything they collected. Sarah probably knows more than most people because of her going through so many files and things, and it's so sad when there's cases like this where people have been missing for years and decades, and there's no information and no leads, and people's cases just stay cold. So I'm excited that this episode is finally over. It was a little nerve-wracking in the beginning, but I got more comfortable towards the end. You could totally, I feel like I could see like my passion coming through talking more about the case. But I'm excited to film more episodes and bring more cases to light, and hopefully, give resources that people can use and utilize if they have any more information about people. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and comment down below if there are any other cases that you think that I should cover and talk about and look into, and I'm always up for it. I have a couple other ones that people have recommended, so I'm super excited to research those and film those, and I'll see you in my next video. One more thing before I end this video, I just wanted to shout out this shop. It's called Made with Mercy, and they made the cutest little mama shirt. I love it. It's so soft and so comfortable. So I will leave the link to their shop down below if you want to shop this shirt. It's very comfortable and I highly recommend it.